In this video, we'll show you essential PowerShell commands for monitoring suspicious activity on your Windows machine. So these commands are simple, but they give a lot of insight into your system's health and security. So first, what you want to know is who's logged into your computer, who are currently logged in. Right? If someone's trying to break into your system, you will want to know if there's maybe another username that is currently logged in. So you can use the command query followed by user. So with this command, it will show you all the active users on your system. If you see unfamiliar users, it's a red flag. In this case, only the user Windows is logged in. If there would be another users logged in, you would see it. Now, you might want to check the running processes. Malicious programs often disguise themselves, so you might want to keep a careful look. So in the same fashion, we could say the command query process. That lists all the active processes. So that's query space process. You see the processes, the process ID, and also the user responsible for running the process. So you'll see all the different processes with their ID and pretty useful information. So that's query space process. If you type query, you'll see you have several options. You can query process, you can query user, and also some other stuff. Now, another important place to look is network connections. So open ports can be a security vulnerability. One way to check it, a short command is netstat. So that's netstat. It will tell you the protocol, the local address, the network address, and also the state. So netstat can be quite useful also for quickly checking the open ports besides the commands you saw earlier in the course. Now, if you have a low disk space, it can also affect your computer's ability. For example, if your disk is almost full, it might get really slow, and so you want to prevent that situation. To check your disk space, you can run the command get-ps drive. So that shows you the drives and the disk space available. So can be quite useful. You see how much free space you have if you're almost running out of space. In this case, there's 29 GB free on the C drive. But it might be different depending on your Windows computer. Now, another thing critical is to see if your firewall is active, if it's running. You can check that in the command line as well with PowerShell. So you can type get-net firewall profile. And you'll see all the configurations. So in this case, we'll see, okay, it's enabled, domain firewall. We see the other one is enabled as well, and another one disabled. So we can double check that. If we search in Windows, search for firewall or defender. If we go to Windows Defender, you can actually see the same thing. So this is the actual rules. It's not what we're looking for here. Okay. Search for Defender and Windows Security. You see in this case the virus protection is both. But if we look for the firewall, all of them are on, which is what we see here. So the public network is on. You see here name public, enabled true. We'll see the private one, private firewall is also enabled true. And on top we have the domain one, also enabled true. Now if it was in another state, for example, if on the private network it would be off. So let's say we disable it and we run the command again. You'll then see that the private firewall is disabled, it's set to off. So you can get the firewall state directly from the PowerShell script. Let's re-enable it. And so you could have a script that gets a lot of this information directly without clicking around. You could simply, for example, get the firewall state. So let's save this. I would simply save all those commands. Let's call it security.ps1. Make sure to save it as a PowerShell script. PowerShell. So I'll call it security ps1. And where we simply run all the commands we run earlier. So you might be interested in the drive space. How much space on the drive do we have? Maybe network connections. Who's logged in? And also processes. So we save all this. Then in the terminal, instead of typing everything manual, we now have a script security.ps1. And if we run it, it will do all of the commands one by one. So you don't have to type all those commands each time. Simply run the script and it outputs all the information you are then interested in. So by having all the commands there that you want to see, all the outputs of the commands, you can get a quick overview of the system. So now we run the scripts, we see about the firewalls, we see about the drive, we see about the current network connections, the programs running, and this can be quite useful to see all that information right away with a single command, with a single script. You can extract a lot of information about your Windows computer and get a quick view on the cybersecurity of your Windows system.